Or what's up, guys? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the final episode of season one of Let's Chat with Rodney, you guys. I am so excited to have a great person on. Actually, be a dear friend of mine. His name is Herb Jackson Jr. He has a great show called 5 Minutes with Herb. And Herb, I like to give people the accolades, but I feel like it's better when it comes from the person who actually sitting in the seat. So for the people who don't know you, who needs to know who you are, can you tell them who you are? Like, why are we interviewing you today? Like, the greatness about Herb.
Well, Rodney, first of all, thanks for having me on board. I hope things are well with you down in the ATL. My name's Herb Jackson Jr. I'm an airline pilot who went and made a move to kind of create some new things and created his own show. My show is 5 Minutes with Herb. It's broadcast on YouTube where I interview primarily actors, but also some people I find inspiring. We have a little conversation. I ask a few little questions, trying to get them know them pretty well. And we try and have some fun. So as I always say, my goal is to make this the best 5 minutes of your day. So I ask that you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I think that's so unique. Like, it's just 5 minutes. It's not like a whole hour. And I watch your content, like I told you off, before our live. It's great. I feel like it's the concept is very neat. I have to give that to you. I can really see that going really, really far. But what really captivated me about your story is the fact that you just started this a year ago. And for me, it just goes to show like you're never too old. Not calling you old. Please don't say I'm calling you old. But it's never. Let me say this: it's never too late to follow your dreams. That's better. It's never too late to like really follow your dreams. And I think you do that. You do that perfectly. So let's back up a little bit. You are a pilot.
Yes, sir.
Pilot.
I fly for a major airline in the United States. I'm a captain on Boeing 737.
So what made you want to be a pilot?
That was literally my dream as a child. To start with, my father worked for the airlines, and so I was exposed to airplanes at a very young age. We traveled all over the country. I was very fortunate to ride on airplanes. And as a kid, you're curious, you kind of make the leap up to the cockpit and you kind of look around and ask the pilots questions. And I always thought that to fly an airplane and get paid for it as a job, I thought that was like the coolest thing in the world. So it began with a dream. Like everything, it takes time. You work hard and you keep your nose clean. And with a little good fortune, you can actually make it. So that's kind of how I ended up where I'm at right now.
So what is the percentage of Black pilots?
Percentage? I couldn't give you a percentage, but I can tell you that it's low. I would say less than probably 10% of all major airline pilots are African Americans. I'm a member of an organization called the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, OBAP. If you're very curious and interested, they have a lot of resources. I've been a member for them for a long time. They actually provided me with mentors and guidance and helped me out along the way. And it's an organization set up to help African American and others, to help us get into the aviation aerospace industry. Because what you have is with the numbers being kind of small, there's not a lot of people out there to mentor you per se. So those of us that are fortunate to make it to the top, that's one way we try and give back is help and bring up the next group.
I think that's beautiful. And I think the reason why I bring it up because this goes to show you that even though I feel like you are a pioneer when it comes to pilots, and the reason I said it because not a lot of us in there. And the fact that you hold that title, that means a lot of people are probably watching this and want to be a pilot, then want to create a show, later on in life. And I feel like this is your lane. Now let's talk about you 5 minutes with Herb. So were you really big on like media when you were younger? Like what was your favorite shows and to watch?
Oh, as a kid watching television, I'd have to say in terms of television, that's where my mom comes in. My father was the airline guy, and that's where I kind of got piloting from. The television portion would be where my mom comes in. She always mentioned and said that I should be a broadcaster or a sportscaster or a weather person or something like that. She always felt that I had that ability in me. And growing up as a child, at one point we lived in Illinois, and this kind of combines two things. There was the weather person was Jim Tillman, who was a black African-American airline captain for, I can't remember what airline he flew for, but he was a airline captain and also was the weather person. So for me, there's two guys in one. There's an airline pilot and there's a guy who's on TV broadcasting. I think over time, especially when you see my show, I'm kind of like inquisitive. I like to kind of answer, questions and not necessarily throw people off, but to get their natural reactions. So I think you can say maybe something like a Jeopardy. As a kid, always watched the Tonight Show, the original Tonight Show with Johnny Carson at it.
Oh, not the original.
That just goes to show you how old I am. But yes, I remember as a kid, late night, 10:30 at night, the Johnny Carson show came on, and I always thought he was like the coolest dude around. He really was.
Yeah, he is a great guy. He's one of the pioneers as well in media when it comes to like late night shows and TV shows as well. So, Herb, let me ask you this. So what made you want to go from a pilot, what I feel like it's a very secure job, I feel like it's very lucrative and good, good money, to going into stepping into media? What made you want to like switch that, turn that switch on?
That's a good question, because people have brought that to my attention. They're like, hey, isn't being a pilot enough? I mean, dude, you're an airline captain, you've reached your dream. Isn't that enough? And I guess the answer would be no. I always have had this burning little sensation or feeling that I was destined to do something else in this world. So, making it to the airlines and finally upgraded and all that good stuff, it's great. Trust me, I love it. And in terms of if you have to work for someone, it's probably one of the best jobs you can have, working for someone. However, having said that, I still felt that there was something else out there for me to do. So what's more opposite from flying? Flying is very technical, I don't know which side of the brain, left or right brain oriented, it's non-emotional. So acting is the opposite of that. Acting is emotional, it's creative, it's the other side of your brain. So why not go ahead and try something like that? So a couple years ago, I began just taking acting lessons and seeing where this would take me. We come up to 2020. I say obstacle meets opportunity. I'm taking lessons. COVID hits, everything shuts down. We're locked down. Schools are closed. As everyone knows, the place became a mess. So I had been fortunate to do a couple segments for Pop Fusion Television. And so I would, email and call them and say, hey, you guys have any gigs for me? I want to do something, Well, one day the response was, why don't you create your own show? And I'm like, what? They said, yeah, you've been taking lessons, you've done stuff for us. You have some presence. Go ahead and create a show yourself. And I was like, when they said that, I was just like, I can't do that. I can't create my own show. But then again, I thought, well, why can't I? If other people are doing it, why can't I? So it started a process where I just had to kind of figure it out, in terms of, like I'm sitting in my home studio right now, creating a studio, lighting, learning about sound, video, creating some sort of program, how to talk and interview and work with people, getting it all produced and wrapped up into a nice little package and putting it on YouTube. I mean, there's all sorts of things, as you are well aware, to getting all this together. So I said, what the hey, let's give it a shot. And so that, like I say, it's obstacle met opportunity. And that's kind of how I ended up where I'm at right now.
So what type of obstacles were you going through when you just started off? Like, what was one of your bloopers? You was like, oh my God, this is a whole blooper I just did right now.
In terms of acting, And I still have this problem to this day. I mean, I won't point it out, but I blink my eyes a lot. There's a lot of technical things about acting that, and trust me, I don't want to say no one's perfected the craft because it's always evolving, but there's some basic things for myself that taking lessons, I keep running across. One of them was I blink my eyes a lot, which one of my instructors was like, hey, you really need to concentrate on that more. And one of the reasons I do blink my eyes is because you're thinking too much. I'm having a natural conversation with you right now. It's no big deal. But when you start thinking, people, and you might notice it actually on most regular good television shows that you won't see that because actors there are of the best, highest level. But sometimes if you notice conversations, maybe interviews or whatever, if you notice people start to blink a little bit, that's the subconscious. They're thinking and they don't really know what they're trying to say. So they start blinking a little bit. That was a problem for me. And just, the standard memorizing lines. And it's what, here's the deal. I want to be like the A student. So you hand me some lines and I just want to read those lines over 10 times and then recite them to you. Well, that's not acting. Acting is actually looking at the text, understanding the subtext, and putting yourself into those words. That was a tough thing for me also.
You know what? It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. Acting is different from listening.
It's to put yourself into and yourself. I can't be Denzel. So I can't take a work of art and try and mimic him. I have to be myself. And so it's a matter of getting yourself into this. And hopefully when you cast for a spot, they like who you are. But the advice I was given is just be yourself. And so that's all I'm trying to do.
So what was the first equipment that you brought for your show?
The MacBook. Which I was using. I want to use iPad, but like I say, technically you start looking around stuff. It's like, no, that's not going to work. So a MacBook, then a camera, and then of course lighting. You discover lighting because one of the key things, lighting can make or break the whole thing. And I, take classes, learn stuff, and when I learned a little bit about lighting, that was like a game changer. The lighting is huge, and of course, then sound. Your standard, microphone on your MacBook versus the microphone that you buy. There's all sorts of little things like that, but that's some of the equipment I bought to do this.
Well, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break because the bills have to be paid, but don't go anywhere. We'll come right back with Let's Chat with Rodney, and we have a wonderful guest on, Herb Jackson Jr. We're right back after this commercial break, you guys. Located in Gulfport, Mississippi, Race Bakes specializes in home-baked desserts from vanilla pound and Italian cream cheese cakes to highly recommended and oh-so-delicious German white chocolate cake. Race Bakes can be reached via Facebook, email, or by phone at 601-791-1393. Try Race Bakes today. You won't be disappointed because where there's a whisk, there's a way. And please tell them your boy Rodney White sent you. All right, guys, and we are back. We are talking with no other than Herb Jackson Jr. with his new hit talk show, 5 Minutes with Herb Jackson. And I just, he just left off with just talking about the importance for beginners with trying to put your own show together. It's very important to have lights, sound. Everybody can't afford a MacBook, but it's good to have a good old Apple product sponsor me.
And yes, don't get me wrong. You can do this off of your phone. You do not need a whole lot of stuff. But I was fortunate to have the resources. So for myself, picking up the MacBook with the external camera and stuff like that really helps in terms of just overall quality. But there are people out there who do this strictly on their iPhone. There are amazing editors, and they have a product that's beautiful. So the main thing is that you just start. That's all that counts. Is if you want to do something, start tomorrow. Why not tomorrow? And the only way to learn and gain experience is by doing. I have a lot of flight time. I'm what's called an experienced pilot. Well, I wasn't born into that position. That was years and years and years and years and years of getting up in the morning and going to fly and reading books and understanding and passing tests and gaining ratings and licenses and all that stuff. Well, it's the same thing with anything. If you are looking to create your own show or we have so many tools at our disposal now. We have IG Live, we have TikTok. You can just go and trust me. Every time you're in front of the camera, you're gaining experience, and it's making you more comfortable.
I think that's very important. So let's talk about this. I think networking is very big in our industry. So how was your networking skills when you enter into the media realm?
Well, I'm very fortunate to have a longtime friend who has been in the industry for over 30 years. He provided, once I told him I was going to get into acting, he had a lot to say and gave me a lot of advice. And as I go along, a lot of things he told me I'm realizing day by day. I signed up for an acting class, and in that acting class, my first class, I think we had 15 students to start with, and only 4 of us graduated 30 weeks later. So keeping in touch with them. The beauty of social media. How I got hooked up with Pop Fusion TV was through a person who actually lives in London now. Just using the hashtag Actors Life, she actually went to take their classes. I saw that, DM'd her and said, "Hey, what do you think about this Pop Fusion?" She's like, "I think it's great. It's good experience. Go learn." So through that, I ended up going, taking their classes, the red carpet hosting, meet their owner and founder, who then was the one to tell me to go and create my own show. So yeah, networking is huge. I can't see them, but I'm pretty sure they're on here right now watching. I call them my day ones, along with my parents, of course, and family. But yeah, they've been very, very supportive, very, very helpful. And one of the things I've noticed too in this industry, people are helpful in general. Yes. There's a lot of good people. I was telling a friend of mine the other day, we were talking about my show, and I said, "You know what the best thing about my show is? It's what you guys don't even see. It's the conversation I have before we tape, and then the conversation we have afterwards." There have been, all my guests were great, and some of them were extremely helpful and just providing me confidence. Because as I mentioned before, this all starts with a dream. Well, your dreams can get crushed really, really fast. You need to have some sort of confidence, and speaking with those who, I've watched on television shows and movies, and here they are on the screen with me. And then we're having a private conversation, and they're telling me, giving me pointers about this, that, or the other, and how they like what I'm doing, this, that, or the other. That is huge. And that's one of the greatest benefits of doing that show.
So how important is it having a team for people who don't understand why you need a team?
What's that?
How important is it to have a team behind you?
Oh my God. As much as I do by myself as the quote unquote producer and all that stuff, it's not possible without a team. A PR company that's working and helping you get industry contacts, people that you've met. Like I said, Francesca, she's like the best. I could be having a day, which I think I was yesterday or the day before, and I can just call her and say, "You won't believe this," and just go. And she understands because she's been in the industry a long time, and she can relate and help me get through those little tough times. Like I said, I have another friend who's been in the industry for 30 plus years. Send him a text. "Hey, dude, what do you think about this?" And other people, like, I found out I'm on your show. I follow you and look at your stuff. You learn from others too.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. other people's style, backgrounds, just little bitty things. It's all helpful. And I have yet to really run into someone, maybe I'm fortunate, but I've yet to run into someone yet who hasn't been encouraging and helpful along this journey.
Yeah, I always tell people, I'm a believer in Christ. I don't put that on anybody else, it's myself. When you pray for stuff, I feel like whoever your higher being or whatever it is for you, they'll let you know if you're in your right calling. Just by the way you touch stuff, it just go without even working hard. You apply for something, you get approved. And I just call that favor. And when you are walking in favor and you are blessed like that, anything you touch will turn into gold, as far as like with you being a talk show host. Like how you just went from being a pilot, being a talk show host, like you've been doing this since you said June. Look how far you have come. That's an accomplishment. Like I looked at some of your people you had on, like, wow, this is really impressive. So like by far, who are one of your best guests that you had on your show?
Oh, gonna put me on the spot, huh? Best guest? Well, before I say anything, I gotta give a shout out to my man Fred Brandon. He was the very first guest. He took a chance on us. He came out. I'm nervous. I don't know if he was nervous or not, but that episode isn't the most technically sound episode. But I always appreciate him coming on. I'll never forget him because he was the first. Now, going from Brandon to what I think is my best episode was episode 14 with Carlos Penavega, Mr. Big Time Rush. And the reason was it's just I reached a point where I think I was finally telling a story. I think the interview, he and I had really good chemistry on camera. The interview flowed really, really well. And it just all flowed. And I remember when that interview was over, I kind of thought to myself, oh my God, I think I finally understand this. So yeah, that interview was great. But oh my God, Big Sleeps, my man up in Van City, great guy. He's been extremely helpful in terms of just providing me with knowledge and information. In fact, speaking of those conversations, he and I had a conversation after the show that all the knowledge he spilled was like, this is what I've been going to school for like the last year and a half, and you just gave it all to me in like 30 minutes. And I don't know if that was just the fact that finally I was able to tie all this together, or he's just that good. But he was unbelievable. My boy Sir Brody. All my guests have been really, really good. Ben Milliken, I gotta give a shout out to him too, because we did in my show I do a thing called the lightning round, where that's my way of kind of showing the guests that, hey, I've done some research about you. It's not just the standard question. I've done some research about you. I found out some of your favorite things, and here we are. I'm just gonna give it to you and see how you respond. And Ben literally was like, oh my God, that's the funnest thing I have ever done in any interview ever. So I just thought that was great that he loved it so much. And you want to know why? Because he loves Sour Patch Kids. And that was something I dug really, really deep to find out. And so when I get the look on his face and he's like, oh my God, you really did do your research, huh? So right then I was like, yeah, that made me feel really good.
So who is your dream guest? Like your dream guest to come on your show, like, dang, I know I made it now. Like my dream guest came on.
Oh my God, my dream guest? Geez. Denzel. Hell, let's just go right to the very top. I'm a huge fan of The Wire. So Lance Reddick, Wendell Pierce, any of those guys I'd love to have. Michael K. Williams. There's so many. But I think, yeah, you have Denzel sitting right there. I think that'd be pretty much the ultimate.
That's a good pick. I like Denzel, but I feel like he'll be a hard interview.
Well, that makes it even better because that gives me something to strive and try and, you know, chisel through there and get in there and say, hey, and you know, Denzel, I bring him up because I read a little bit about him and his journey. Now, not to say that I'm anywhere the actor is he, but he was the athlete in college. I'm not a, you know, a superstar or anything. And I kind of relate to a lot of kind of his life journey. So that's why I kind of mentioned him, because if I were ever to get, you know, in front of him, I think he and I have a lot in common and a lot to talk about.
I think, yeah, I do love his his movies, but I'd be like, I think I did with Whoopi Goldberg first.
Oh yeah, Whoopi,
I
yeah.
love Whoopi. I just feel like she'll just be so with so much wisdom. Be like, I just love you. But let's talk about this. So, where do you see 5 minutes with Herb in the next 5 years?
Ooh, another good one. I dream big. This and my whole acting, everything, my goal is just to be the best I can possibly be and see if I can be accepted and respected by my peers in the industry. Now, having said that, we got to make money, right? So the ultimate goal for 5 minutes with Herb is that it gets picked up by a Netflix or your favorite streaming system, or that I'm plucked out and, you know, Fox Soul or whoever decides they want to take it over and I'm on every Sunday night or every Tuesday or every day. Who knows what it turns out to be. But yeah, that would be the ultimate goal. But in order to get there, I just need to work on the craft and keep improving myself, and the chips will fall where they may.
Well, honestly, Herb, when I've been doing this for over like 2 years. I'm not saying I'm the master of it all, but I've been around enough people to know no one show is perfect. I think what most people and viewers like when they tune into your show, and anyone's show who do what we do, who does what we do, is that the consistency. I'm sorry. You know, I had a car wreck somewhere. Can I say? Oh, I hate when that happens. But you know what I'm trying to say? When you are consistent, there you go.
Consistency, yeah.
When you are consistent and you bring on good guests that people really want to know about, and you ask a question that probably other people won't ask. And I watch some of your shows, and like I like how you're just not the typical interview. I think it's very boring when you be like, "Oh, where you from? Oh, what it is?" Like I want to when I watch the show, I want to know about the person. I want to walk away with something new that I didn't know before. A lot of stuff you can Google. You know, you want to know where somebody from. Oh, where is he from? You know, you got a little press release. You look that up. But when you ask the question and your guest be like, I wasn't expecting that. I think that what stands out and what makes people love your show. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like, and honestly, I love your show. It's different. The concept is nice, and you ask questions I feel like other people want to ask, and it's entertaining. And you have to make people entertaining, and I think that's very important.
Well, thank you so much for the compliments. I really, really do appreciate that, and that you know, like I say, the people told me just to be me, and that's what I'm trying to do is just be me. And when you're me yourself, I don't think it makes things easy. And so, in terms of the questions and stuff, that's just me. That's me wanting to get to know. That's what you're seeing is me. I'm, you know, I'll go back to my mother real quick. She's always asking questions all the time. Drives me crazy to the point where, Mom, quit asking questions. But
is she a Capricorn?
Aries. But that part of her apparently is in me when it comes to doing this show, because I'm the one now asking all them questions because I'm just curious. And you know, the other thing is I try not to. I'm not trying to be controversial or, you know, all this crazy stuff. You know, I have friends that say, "Oh, you should do this video and do this because this gets so many likes." I don't care about how many likes. I mean, yeah, you want people to watch, but the goal for me is just to work on the show, present something decent, and have fun doing it. So I try and keep things lighthearted. I think there's too much strife and stress in this world. So, like I say, my tagline, I truly want to make this the best 5 minutes of your day. So when you tune in, I just want you to be able to sit back, relax, and just enjoy it. Not worry about bills or the weather or this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. Just, it's something just to take your mind away. 5 minutes with her.
I think that's beautiful. So let me ask you this. So for people who are stepping out into their 9-to-5 career and they try to turn their dream to reality, what do you say to those people right now?
You say from non-pilots or pilots?
No, I'm sorry. Wait, my voice is probably choppy to this.
It's all good.
It happens. Studio me, please. No, I say, what do you say to people who work their 9-to-5 career and then step out of 9-to-5 career, going to following their dream? What do you say to those type of people? So I feel like that's what you are. You are the epitome of that.
Yeah. Thank you once again. I really think you have to have a desire, and I don't want to say a burning desire. I was on an interview, I don't know, a couple months ago or whatever, and they asked me kind of the similar question. And they said, what did it take you to get where you are? And I said, you have to have, I called it an unhealthy desire. And while the host didn't agree with that, I guess I didn't explain it well enough. But I feel that if you want to do something, whatever it is, if you want to be an airline pilot, a TV star, whatever you want to be, it makes no difference. Because anyone who's been successful that I've talked to, it's all pretty much the same thing. You just have to work hard, but it has to have a desire. It has to be like the burning thing that you really, really want to do, because you're going to have to sacrifice. I sacrificed a lot of my life to get where I am in terms of a pilot. And even doing this show, I've sacrificed a lot. There's a lot of times when I am, not that we can go out at all, but I really can't go out because I'm literally working on stuff, 24/7. And it's not that the show takes up that much, but it's me learning. I'm also trying to learn and improve. I'm working on copywriting skills and stuff like that. So you have to be willing to sacrifice. So that desire, it's like if you, Starbucks, I don't know if we can even say that online, but you have this cup of coffee you want to drink every day, but now you don't have enough money to buy it. What's the desire there? So you have to have that desire, I think. And if you do, I think you can do whatever you want. I mean, nothing will stop you. And I learned that from, reading about guys like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and literally working on stuff all the time. People see, like we're watching the show right now and they're seeing you and I talk. What they don't see is the hours and time that you spent to hone your craft, to even just set up the whole interview. People don't see that. We're seeing the result of that. So you got to be willing to put in the work, have a strong desire, and have a belief in yourself. Because people, there's going to be haters out there, as we all know.
Oh, yeah.
Some of those haters might be kind of close to you, and it might kind of shock you.
You better preach, Herb.
And so you have to be able to get over that, but and you'll see who your trues are. Like I said, my day ones, I can't see the chat right now, but I know my day ones are here, and they are people that literally they've been with me from the start, and they're in my corner and they support me, and that support means a whole lot, because it gets difficult, it gets lonely. You're going to run the gamut of emotions, frustration, sadness, anger, whatever things, and things aren't going to go your way necessarily either. There's going to be, obstacles, and you just have to be willing to push through that. And the last thing I guess I would say is you have to be patient, because nothing comes overnight. The standard overnight sensation, they don't exist. I maybe there's someone out there who just auditioned for a TV show and got on and became, quote unquote famous. But for 99.9% of the rest of us, you got to work, and it takes time.
That is so true. So now we come to my favorite part of the show. It's called a guest spotlight. where the guests just plug in what they have going on, where can people follow you. That's basically whatever you have going on to make people want to watch and this because they love who you are.
Well, thanks. Once again, the show is 5 Minutes with Herb, and I have a Instagram show page, the little circle at 5 Minutes with Herb. You can follow me, social media, Herb Jackson Jr. That's Instagram, Twitter, and also my YouTube channel is also called Herb Jackson Jr., where the playlist 5 Minutes with Herb will be in there. Currently, we've wrapped up season 1. In the process of getting together my holiday edition, which I have 3 guests come back from season 1, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's kind of a giving thing, and that should air here right before Christmas. And had a big meeting the other day to set up to start working on season 2. So I personally am working on just trying to improve myself, copywriting skills, stuff like that. But hey, Herb Jackson Jr., come on out, give it a shout. And also, feel free to leave feedback, on the shows. If there's something you don't like, you do like, things you want to see, feel free. I trust me, I'll be able to handle it. You can give me honest feedback.
And be sensitive of this industry.
Yeah. So go ahead, let me know what you think. And I appreciate all of you watching.
Yes, you guys. Well, as you all know, Mr. Jackson is the last guest for season 1 of my show. I will see you guys sometime later in January. I need a break. But, I love you guys. And you guys, thank you so much for this. Tuning in with me, rocking through our quarantine. And quarantine has been something serious. But you have made this show very enjoyable. Thank you. Thankful to my guests who came up with me and rocked out. I love all you guys. Until next time, you guys have a happy holiday, safe season, happy new year. And my birthday, January 3rd. Cash up on the bottom. And I will see you guys in January. Until next time, you guys be blessed. And I love